Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And so, the Puerto Ricans are still grieving over that garbage island comment that was made by that comedian at the Trump rally the other night. They really did not believe that they were looked upon as others in this country. I think one of the reasons is that they live in these enclaves like New York and Chicago and Florida, some parts of Florida, where they all live together in these big coastal cities, and they don't really interact with the interior of the United States. So they really don't know how the average white American views them. They think they're in the package. In Puerto Rico, they might be considered white, but in America, they're considered other. Americans don't even know that Puerto Ricans are citizens of this country. They see Puerto Ricans as a part of the illegal immigrant crowd. So they don't even see them as being Americans. And I lived in New York years ago, and I was working at a daycare center, and there was a Puerto Rican woman there, and I was the lead teacher in the classroom, and she was an aide. But for whatever reason, she thought that I wasn't giving her the respect that she deserved. So one day she started yelling at me, "I'm white, I'm white." I said, "You wouldn't be considered white where I come from. I'm white, I'm white, I'm white." And so I had to tell her, I was brought up around white people. I've been living around white people all my life. I know what a white woman looks like in America. But in Puerto Rico, they are white. And there were some darker skinned Puerto Ricans working in that school. And they said that the lighter skinned Puerto Ricans look down on the darker skinned Puerto Ricans on the island. But in the United States, that's different. Now in New York City, it's a lot of them, and they have that pecking order just like the Indians do. The Indians have this caste thing going in the United States, trying to replicate what they have in India. But at the end of the day, in the United States, either you are a white person or you are not. You can be a light-skinned Indian or a light-skinned Latino, but white people still do not view you as white, because why do we have on these forms, when we're having to check racial categories, you'll have white, not Hispanic, or black, not Hispanic? Because white people are not trying to keep Afro-Latinos from identifying with us. They're trying to keep those so-called white Latinos from identifying with them. And what we have come to understand is that we cannot help these people. We cannot give them a heads up. Every time we try to explain the American racial system, people think we are trying to force them to identify with us, which is why the delineation movement that the so-called FBA people have going is important. Because we're not trying to force you to identify with us. We have our own thing going over here. We're just trying to tell you, trying to give you a friendly warning. Just trying to give you some friendly advice, but they don't appreciate it. So I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Just let the donkey kick them. Let the white folks handle it. Because when the white folks handle it, it's going to be mean, and it's going to be hurtful, but it's going to be well understood. And let me say this before I move on to the people who keep trying to drag black people into this. Black people don't need a wake-up call. We already know what time it is. We got our wake-up call in 1619, and we've been woke ever since, and even more so now. So trying to drag black people into this is pointless, because we don't even care what Donald Trump says. Donald Trump is Donald Trump, and black people see it for what it is. And yes, you push back if you want to on what he says, but we weren't going to vote for him. Most of us are not going to vote for Donald Trump. And for the ones who are voting for him, they're just doing it as a protest vote against the Democrats. So they don't care what he says. So you can't drag black people into it, because I doubt if there is 1% of black people, black American descendants of slavery, who give a flying flip about what Donald Trump says. So he can't hurt us. but the Puerto Ricans are hurt by what he said. So here are two headlines right here together. Puerto Rican stars decry willful ignorance at Trump Madison Square Garden rally. And the other one says, Jennifer Lopez says Puerto Rico joke offended every Latino in this country. So see, they're very offended by it. And one of the reasons they're offended by it is because many of them plan to vote for him, and some of them have already early voted for him. So see, they have buyer's remorse. They're sorry they voted for him because this is really what he thinks. Because Donald Trump was saying offensive things about Puerto Rico way back when he was in office before. So I don't even know why they are surprised. This article says, a trio of Puerto Rican superstars combined forces in a new opinion piece for the New York Times to condemn the willful ignorance of former President Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden last Sunday. Award-winning Puerto Rican singer Ricky Martin, singer-songwriter Lin-Manuel Miranda, and actress and singer Rita Moreno wrote about the importance of Puerto Rican history and influence in American culture. Okay. And this article from the Huffington Post says, Jennifer Lopez fights back tears in searing rebuke to Trump rally's racist remarks. Jennifer Lopez has a message for voters days after speakers spewed racist rhetoric at a Donald Trump rally in New York City. The former Republican president showed Americans who he really is. Well, some people already knew who he really was. The singer and actor delivered an emotional speech in support of Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris, Trump's 2024 rival for the White House, at a Thursday event in North Las Vegas, Nevada. Lopez called out wildly problematic jokes made Sunday by Trump rally speaker Tony Hinchcliffe, who referred to Puerto Rico as a floating island of garbage. And really, that didn't even make any sense. I don't think anybody understands why he did that. Hinchcliffe and others at Madison Square Garden also made xenophobic remarks, as well as racist comments about black people, Palestinians, and Jewish people. At Madison Square Garden, Trump reminded us who he really is and how he really feels, Lopez said on Thursday. It wasn't just Puerto Ricans that were offended that day. It was every Latino in this country. It was humanity and everyone and anyone of decent character. I am an American, she later said. I am the daughter of Guadalupe Rodriguez and David Lopez, a proud daughter and son of Puerto Rico. We are Americans, she added. Yeah, well, they try to drag everybody else into it, but as I said before, I don't think there's anything left for them to say about black people for black people to be offended. And black people already had Donald Trump's number. So I'm not offended by anything they say about black people. In fact, I don't even know what he said. Said something about carving watermelon. They've been telling watermelon jokes for over 200 years. They had watermelon jokes on postcards. They were sending postcards to each other during the slavery days with black children eating watermelon. I don't know what's supposed to be so funny about watermelon, but they just find that hilarious. That's so funny to them. And we don't even tell headlights jokes. We don't tell scabies jokes. We don't tell jokes about them because it's stupid. So the Puerto Rican actress and comedian Rosie Perez had a chance to weigh in on this. She said he picked on the wrong people. Puerto Ricans have contributed a lot to this country. And one thing is we don't take CRAP, she said. We just don't. Everybody knows that about us. Conservative, liberal, moderate, whatever. Our pride comes first. Well, I just want to know, first of all, what is it that Puerto Ricans have contributed to this country? And since when did Puerto Ricans get so bad? I don't know anything bad they've done. I don't know any wars they fought in to defend this country. I don't know anything that they've especially contributed to the culture other than something they stole from some black Afro-Latino. So y'all, I'm willing to learn. Tell me, what is it that Puerto Ricans have done to contribute so much to this country that we need to know about? I need to know. See, a lot of these people are living in delusional bubbles, and they think just because their skin is lighter than ours that they just automatically put themselves over us and that they've contributed something just because they're not black. And that's the only thing that I can see with them and the Asians. They just aren't black. So at least from the Chinese people, we get the Chinese food. From the Mexicans, we get the tacos. From the Germans, we get the hamburger. From the Italians, we get the pizza. What are we getting from Puerto Ricans? Will somebody tell me, please? So now they're on a campaign to not vote for Trump. So maybe this will sway the election in some way. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about the video. Give me a thumbs up and have a good day.